Good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome in for a Saturday afternoon closing weekend of Grand Circuit Racing here at the historic Red Mile. We're just 26 minutes from the opener. Live racing comes up at the top of the hour at 1 p.m. Picture perfect weather conditions here in central Kentucky this afternoon. We are in the low 80s, sunny skies, and a lightning fast track here at the Red Mile for our Saturday afternoon card. If you do have out your racing programs, we'll go through this afternoon's changes. And they do begin at this afternoon's first race. Scratch C7, Spunky Bottom Girl. Let's get to the first race this afternoon. Scratch C7, Spunky Bottom Girl. Races 2 through 7 are clear. Once again, races 2 through 7 are clear. Please note the 7th race kicks off this afternoon's $10,000 guaranteed pick 4. Moving into this afternoon's 8th race, scratch number 10, Don't Tell Me Again. Big scratch there in the 8th race. Take out the 10, Don't Tell Me Again. Races 9 and 10 are clear. Once again, races 9 and 10 are clear this afternoon. Moving into the 11th and final race, we scratch number 9, Magic Joe Lindy. Once again, in the 11th and final race this afternoon, scratch the 9, Magic Joe Lindy. Please note we do have a super high 5 carryover into the finale, better than $2,400. Again, just to take over $2,400 in the super high 5 carryover into the 11th and final race here this afternoon. Once again, good afternoon. Welcome in for our closing weekend here at the Red Mile. I am Gabe Prewitt. I'm pleased once again to be joined here by my good friend Chris Schick, who's in town for Grand Circuit action. Chris, of course, a general manager out at Watch and Wager, which operates a Cal Expo meet. He's the head of the USTA Strategic Wagering Program. And Chris, we're happy to have you here for Grand Circuit Racing.
Oh, thanks, Gabe. Really a pleasure to be here. Met a lot of people that I haven't seen in years yesterday and last night at the sale, and just some phenomenal racing and what summer weather.
Yeah, it is great, Chris. We couldn't ask for any better than that. Obviously, we have a lightning fast track. You saw that mile yesterday with that 2-year-old pacing filly, Warwee Butte, 148-3. Did you ever think you'd see a 2-year-old pacing filly going 48 and change?
No, I mean, it was just, it was a phenomenal mile. It looked like she had more in the tank, too. That was amazing.
Plug still in, just a sharp effort, really drawing clear of a good group. That was a very deep division for those 2-year-old pacing fillies yesterday afternoon. A couple of housekeeping notes as we move into a closing day here at the Red Mile tomorrow. It's all about the hats. We're going to give away 300 Kentucky Futurity hats to the first 300 folks with us tomorrow afternoon, so make sure you check that out. And we've got a hat contest on track here. You'll need to sign up at the trophy stand tomorrow afternoon. But we've got some great prizes for that. Texas Day Brazil. The top prize, if you win that hat contest here tomorrow on Kentucky Futurity Day, dinner for 8, a bottle of wine. And believe me, Texas Day Brazil, Chris, a great spot. So you're going to want to check that out. Second prize, dinner for 2 at Texas Day Brazil. So make sure you join that hat contest and you can sign up at the trophy stand here tomorrow afternoon. Chris, before we dive into today's card, we've got a great racing program today, some stellar events. Talk to us about the USTA Strategic Wagering Program. We're all big fans of this program. Of course, you administer all the guaranteed pools. We get free past performances posted on the U.S. Trotting's website. As gamblers, we really love this program.
Well, thanks, Gabe. This is our 8th year, believe it or not, for strategic wagering. We started it on April 1st, 2011, and the program has really done well. We do about 1,000 guaranteed bets a year, right around 80 or 90 bets a month, and we do about 25 million a month in guarantees. And, the program's growing. Obviously, we've seen a huge explosion in multi-race wagers. Some of that has been, the relaxation of the tax benefits last year and just the value that, having one takeout over a 4-horse parlay or a 5-horse parlay provides for the bettors. And, it's really been embraced by the bettors out there. And we couple that with, obviously, the guaranteed pool and the free pass performances for those events, and we've developed something that's really taken off.
It really has taken off, and it continues to climb. I know it's great to work with you, and not only here at the Red Mile, we offer that $10,000 pick 4 that the USTA Strategic Wagering Program's in partner with here during the Grand Circuit. At Pompano in the winter as well, you're always great to work with. Anytime we have a carryover or nightly basis, it's just been a program, and I know that's really helped the bettors out there because a lot of times those multi-race pools, you just want to have that assurance that you're going to be wagering into a sizable pool, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest issue that I see as a former professional gambler and handicapper is liquidity in the pools here in harness racing. There's a lot of times the pools aren't big enough to make a substantial wager. So like at Pompano or at Cal Expo, when we're able to put a $50,000 pool together for a pick four, you can go in there swinging with your opinion and you can win 2,000-3,000 and not affect your own price. So that's really what harness racing in general needs to focus on, liquidity in the pools.
I agree 100%. And yesterday we saw that in action here because we had nearly 19,000 in that pick four pool. And really wasn't overly difficult, Chris, and the wager returned over $1,700 for a dollar. So well done if you had that pick four here yesterday afternoon. Quick look at the standings here, Chris, heading into the final 2 days. Tight races in both our driver standings and our trainer standings. Dave Miller, Yannick Gingras tied right now for our leading driver during the Grand Circuit. They both have 10 wins apiece. Andy McCarthy hot on their heels with 9 wins. On the trainer side, Jimmy Tactor has 6 wins on the beat. Tony Alanya, Nancy Johansson with 5. We've got Brian Brown, Ron Burke with 4. So still a tight race heading into the final 2 days of Grand Circuit action here at the Red Mile. Chris, we're going to put you right to the test here. We've got 11 on tap this afternoon. Great card, great wagering card. We start things off here with the late closing event in the opener. It's the Pampered Princess, and I know we're just going to shuffle the deck slightly from each other. I'm on board with a 4-7 by 11. This filly was in against Stage Company here last week. She raced pretty well. She was even at that effort. She takes a dip into late closing action here today. I know you like the razor sharp I'm Pink 2 in this spot.
Yeah, when this was a race, I started with the 1, and I'm like, what do you do with Urban Legend? A horse that has obviously a lot of ability, might be the best horse in the race, but she's coming off of 2 breaks, and I just couldn't use that horse. She could win. So when you start with a race like that, it's kind of a crapshoot. I went with I'm Pink 2. Obviously, this horse is in career form. And, she won under wraps, I thought, last time, although the fractions were relatively soft. So I went with her. I didn't know what to do with the 4-7 by 11. Raced in the Excelsior Series in New York, which is not the top sire stakes group, but came here, and she didn't do any work in that race, but she trotted in, 51 and 4-27. I don't know if that's a little phony.
Well, that's a good question, and it is a good sharp thing to point out. There was a deep division, I thought, last week, so only beating a few lengths by those fillies. Thought that was really a nice effort from her. I'm Pink 2, by the way, is in the upcoming Lexington Select mix sale tomorrow night, so it'll be interesting to see what she goes for there. All the money in Ohio. She's already earned over $400,000. And I'm in agreement with you with the 1 Urban Legend. This might be, from a gambling perspective, maybe an all-or-nothing horse. You may go back in this type of spot, Chris, I would assume, maybe play a ticket with her on top because, as you mentioned, we know she has a lot of talent. She just hasn't been on top of her game of late.
Yeah. Sometimes you can make bets where you put the 1 on top and other horses, and then you throw the horse out totally.
That's completely right. Maybe save up there, and you'd be happy probably if she won. She's up there at the board right now at 8-1, so she's likely to offer a pretty good price in the opener here this afternoon. We've got the second race up next. It is the first of 2 divisions of the Glenn Garnsey Memorial, over $111,000 on the line here. Chris, we had a supplement into this Glenn Garnsey. It's the 4 Wisdom Tree. And really, she draws into what seems to be the softer of the 2 divisions here this afternoon. She's won 11 of 14 on the season. Really seems to be maybe a standout here this spot today.
Yeah, I really like her. I can't go past her. Obviously, she was the best filly back in New York. She won the final easy. But if you go beyond that, if you look at, she won the Nadia Lobel at Hoosier. She was really good that night in the Mistletoe Chalet at Meadowlands. So she's proven against Grand Circuit type as well. And she warmed up here just a little while ago before we went on, and she looked phenomenal warming up. So, I'm on the Wisdom Tree bandwagon as well. I did have the opportunity to talk with an old friend of mine last night, Mr. Ross Krogan, who has the 1 horse here.
Great guy.
And he pretty much thought that I'm Trigger Happy is going to be better tonight. He wasn't happy with the last start, but he said she will be better tonight. So I put her in the 2-hole because I know he has a really strong opinion.
And usually he is spot on as well. I've heard him get high on horses before, and I've given him a second look. But when he comes to that info, it's usually pretty hot.
Yeah, and I picked Dance Blue, who really hasn't done anything wrong, and was a victim of some slow fractions last time and did race pretty well. I picked her 3rd, although she's certainly a player in here.
And she's got home track advantage here as a Kentucky Sire Stakes champion. as well. So that's a look at the second race. Get it kicks off the 50-cent pick 5. On to the third here. First of 5 splits of the Captain Treacherous this afternoon for the 2-year-old Colton Gelding Pacers. What kind of mile, Chris, are we going to see here from the outside? The 8 working on a mystery, undefeated, 4 for 4. If we saw a 2-year-old pacing filly in 148-3 yesterday, we could see big numbers from this guy as well.
You know, I mean, I couldn't. This horse is going to be a real short price, but I can't go against this horse. Obviously, he's undefeated. He won very handily last time, 26 and 1 home. It looked like there was way more in the gas tank there. So working on a mystery. Obviously, he drew the outside. Tim Tetrick's going to have to go out of there and see what goes on. He might take a seat early, but I imagine he'll be working his way to the front somewhere before the half here.
And I happened to bump into trainer Brian Brown yesterday, and he was a bit disappointed that both of these colts drew in the same division. Ron Candy working on a mystery, expected big efforts here in week 2 from Grand Circuit Racing from both colts. But again, they seem to be a couple of the top ones in here. The 7 odds on Boca Raton, I do want to give a mention to. I know we both used this horse. Yeah. Major traffic trouble last time for this guy, Chris. He just could not get out. Completely blocked hopelessly behind a wall of horses. Probably needed that start as a bit of a tightener as well. So that's a colt maybe with a license to improve here this afternoon as well.
Yeah, I picked this this horse third, and he's going to be a big price. I think he can help key some nice gimmicks here. I want to point out his race in the Champagne was really good too. He was blocked in there and had a lot of pace, so he had a lot of trouble his last 2 starts. Also second time Lasix, so we didn't really get to see last week you know, what he had in the tank.
That's exactly right. He did appear to be loaded, but again just had no chance to race in there. Fourth race, we're very similar here. I'm going to take a filly that exits a stake race here last week, another deep division there with Bella Gloss finishing second, beaten less than a length by Hey Blondie at Big Mile. I think maybe she has the edge here over this group in late closing company, but she's going to offer a short price. You're going to go with a filly, or a mare, I should say, that's been sharp as well. Time will reign. She's been very sharp since returning back to trainer Noel Daly a few starts back.
Yeah, I'm a little biased in a race like this towards the 4-year-olds. I realize that we're in October for 3-year-olds, and Bella Gloss's last race was certainly really good against Hey Blondie, who's one of the top 3-year-old trotting fillies out there. But I went with Time Will Reign. Noel Daly, the horse, as you pointed out, was racing in condition races at Philly. Came here first time Lasix last time, and I thought raced really good. I'm thinking this horse is really getting good for Noel, and I'm thinking this horse is going to step it up a notch from here today. And I also picked the other 4-year-old, the for Charlie Norris, who really didn't race that good last time. But this horse has ability, was racing in the Miss Versatility against some of the top older mares, trotting mares.
And then really jumps off.
At Bella Gloss, no question she deserves favoritism, but I'm looking for a little value here.
Okay, I like your style there, so we'll see how it shakes out of the 4th race. On to the 5th race this afternoon, the What the Hill All Roush Farms Open Trot. And this one, we could see Big Mile here as well, obviously. I went to the favorite Will Take Charge, who's probably going to be a short price here. Made a break last time at Dayton. I believe he was recently invited to the International Trot next week as well. Obviously, very talented 5-year-old at this spot. Chris, he's already earned over $400,000 this season. I do want to note, though, we've got a Red Mile lover here in this spot. It's number 5, Lindy the Great. He raced with us here at the Red Mile. He really took off for Team Lindy last fall. He was an 11-1 winner, Chris, in the Bluegrass. He followed it up in the Kentucky Futurity here last year. He was second, beating a neck to the namesake here, What the Hill, in the first heat of the Kentucky Futurity. Last year, he was third in the final of the Kentucky Futurity. So beware, the 5 Lindy the Great really loves the red clay.
You're going to get a good price on him. There's no question about that. On paper, he looks like he's not quite good enough, but knowing what you know and how much he loves the track, I think it could happen. I went with Homicide Hutter, dueled every step of the way last time in the Dayton Derby, and I thought held really well. Pinkman, I mean, this horse, you can look at it and say he's not himself, but if you look at his post positions the last 3 times, he really had no chance in those races. And then his time from the 6 hole in the Maple Leaf, I really don't think he raced that bad. So I'm expecting Pinkman to really jump up with a good mile here, and Will Take Charge. Obviously, I have no knocks on him other than the break at Dayton, and I think he does like the bigger track better, so I think it's going to suit him here. But I'm going with Homicide Hunter over Pinkman.
Okay, Pinkman, I've always been a big fan of his. Picked up that win at the Meadowlands earlier this season. 6th race closes out the 50-cent pick 5, and we're both on a short price here to the inside. Semi-tough. He's been very tough to get his career. He's hit the board in all 8. Chris been chasing really some killers in those top-level stakes events.
Yeah, I mean, coming out, even though he didn't race last week, I assume that was by strategy not to go into Bluegrass, or maybe he wasn't nominated. But the races that he went into Metro, even though he's only won one time out of 8 starts, to me, Drew to Rail, semi-tough, he's clearly the horse to beat. I like him.
Okay, so that's the 6th race. Now we're on to the 7th race. So on to race 7 here this afternoon. Kicks off this $10,000 guaranteed pick 4 in the 7th race today. And Captain Ahab, De Los Cielos Deo, both maybe not as sharp as we've seen them in that Metro final. What do you make of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got the 2 favorites here that probably both come out of their worst race in their career. Okay, so are they gonna can we line that race out, or is that a sign that they're both heading in the wrong direction? And to me, you got the 2 and the 3 who are the really sharp horses and have starts over the track. So I went for a long shot here in Artie's deal. I liked it. The race that he went against Working on a Mystery last time. I'm not sure he can beat these, but I think the price is going to be square. And Air Force Hanover, again, similar situation. The horse is lightning sharp. And obviously he won over the track, and he's going to be a decent price. The 4 and the 6 are going to take money. I picked the 4 second and the 2 third. So
Suspect.
3, 4, 2.
Suspect colts. I mean, we know they're major talented colts, but coming on those efforts, I agree. And Artie's Ideal, your top choice. Really a nice effort to rally by blood money. That's a nice colt that he got by for second in that last effort. So we'll see how he bounces back today. And he is going to be a nice live long shot there to start that pick 4. 8th race, we've got Lazarus and McWicked, round 4. Who do you like?
Well, I picked the 1 McWicked, obviously over Lazarus. McWicked's a big track horse. He's better on the mile track, but I'm not going to take anything away from Lazarus. I did pick a real long shot third here, Heaven Rocks A. Again, speaking with Ross Krogan, some of the clockers had this horse missing the gate big time last week and pacing a big mile. But just a quick story, Heaven Rocks was a stablemate of Lazarus under the Mark Purdon barn in New Zealand. And yesterday, when they both showed up at the detention barn, they had some words with each other because they're old friends. But Heaven Rocks might go a bigger race than a lot of people are thinking here. He's a bit of a head case, Ross said, behind the gate. But he's a good horse. And
he is going to fly under the radar, but that's a good note as well. Former stablemates, Heaven Rocks and Lazarus, into this afternoon's All Rise today. 9th race, we've got the 4th division of the Captain Treacherous. Here's a sneaky long shot from me, Chris. It's a 7 Sugar Factory. Cancelleri, a team here. Tom Cancelleri, of course, the trader, and John, the owner. Corey Callahan back in the bike. No, he did get set up with a perfect trip last time, but he fired a big effort. He was home 26-1, and I thought we had some early speed here in this event. I didn't think Proof was quite at his best last time, and he's going to be the favorite. So I'm going to swing for the Sugar Factory here, possibly double digits in the 9th.
Definitely going to be double digits, and it's a good pick. I'm looking at it. I don't know what he's going to do tactically. I think he's going to have to duck here. But he might try to send him. I'm not sure. Obviously, I went with Captain Crunch. I'm a little concerned about the 21 days off, but I think this horse is really good. He didn't make the final in the Metro, so I'm assuming they had planned the race in the final, obviously, if they made it, and that they were going to skip the Bluegrass intentionally. So I'm a little less concerned about him missing that time. I think it was more a victim of things that happened rather than anything with the horse. And I think the horse is really good. I picked the 5 Proof second, and Buddy Hill, I think, is going to get a really good trip here from the inside. And I didn't use Sugar Factory. I watched the race last time. I can't really knock him. The fractions were against him, but the cover was good, and he certainly could get there.
It's just one of those spots where we can't use them all. It's a deep group there in race at number 9. 10th race kicks off the late double here as we are quickly closing in on the post parade here, so we'll zip through these last couple. 6 Kiss Into the Sand. She was sharp here last week. No reason why she can't repeat, although it is the deepest division of the 2.
Yeah, it's the deepest division, and she's just a brute. I mean, she can do the work. She can take air. Her race last time, I couldn't go against her here. But I did pick Baron Remedy to be second. Alexa Power, obviously one of the top 3 fillies in the division. I went against You Are My Candy Girl only because of her. It looks like her form might be a little suspect here, and she might be a short price, but obviously a very talented filly in her own right.
She might have her feelings hurt as well because her stablemate broke a world record here yesterday afternoon in World Week you also. 11th race, I'm going to leave totally up to you because right before we went on air, my best bet of the day came up a scratch, the 9 Magic Joe Lindy. So talk to us about the finale.
Well, I went with the 4 Covered Bridge. You know, it was kind of a tough call, but I look at this horse. He got off the half-mile track to the big track. He really sprinted home last week. I think he's going to be better tonight, and I got to give him the nod. But I went with the 5 Lieutenant second. I thought he was really good. And this Mango, I really like his races as well. So I went 4, 5, 7. I wasn't going to use your horse, Magic Joe Lindy, but obviously he's out, so we don't have to worry about it. But I think Covered Bridge is actually going to even improve over his last start.
Okay, thanks a lot, Chris. That's a look at your Saturday afternoon action. We wish you the best of luck here this afternoon.